the KRMITS approach to knowledge management is centered around people and how they use and share knowledge. It's a service that assists organizations who lack the time and expertise to implement effective knowledge management systems on their own. The KRMITS process guides organizations through this complicated endeavor by first identifying what the critical knowledge is that an organization needs to achieve its mission. Next, the team collects that knowledge from employees who possess it and stores it through a software portal where it can be managed. Seeing that this knowledge is accessible and used requires the implementation of a variety of knowledge-sharing platforms. The KRMITS service assists organizations in the best ways to transfer knowledge between employees through mechanisms such as training and mentor-protege programs, as well as how organizations can sustain their workforce numbers by sharing their knowledge with their community. This service not only helps organizations identify and store their knowledge, it tailors their knowledge-sharing strategies around the cultures of people within the organizations themselves. KRMITS is more than a product, it's a service, run by veteran knowledge managers who have extensive aerospace experience and want to see the industry thrive.
So we've gone out, we've pulled together all these best practices, and we've created an entire end-to-end comprehensive turnkey process.
KRMITS is a process-layered service. It begins by leading an organization to identify and evaluate the critical knowledge it needs to fulfill its mission 5 and 10 years into the future.
The issue is if employers can actually quantify the loss of skills and knowledge as people depart or as they need them and there's no one there to fulfill it. And the answer is probably no before it happens. It certainly can be quantified after the need is there.
With a gap analysis, KRMITS locates employees who hold this critical knowledge and demographically maps them to see when they might retire. Chances are likely the experts identified won't be around past a decade.
That's the gap we have to address first. That is very important to get that down on paper, to essentially quantify what that would be, because that again is the cornerstone for the knowledge management plan.
Knowing where the knowledge gaps exist and where they will expand leads to a greater understanding of just what losing that knowledge can mean through a return on investment analysis.
If you can no longer maintain an airplane, if you can no longer build a particular component for a rocket, what does that do to your business? That's the bottom line. The end product for this knowledge assessment is the organization-specific knowledge management plan. We've done all of the analysis in terms of the knowledge that needs to be collected, who has that knowledge, who needs to be receiving that knowledge, and most importantly, how that knowledge gets received.
The power of the KRMITS system comes from linking tangible, documented, explicit knowledge with the elusive, wisdom-centered, tacit knowledge. Throughout this knowledge collection process, the KRMITS team brings seasoned employees and the newest members of the workforce together to ensure the information collected is both useful and relevant to the people working today. Through expert interviews, employee questionnaires, documentation gathering, and other activities, the KRMITS team leads the capture of this unconscious competence to bring younger workers up to speed more easily.
It's very important then to have this explicit knowledge and also the tacit knowledge and relate the two.
By linking the explicit knowledge with the tacit know-how, KRMITS facilitators open up a world of relevant and useful information for the organization and its employees. Next, KRMITS facilitators work with the organization to select the best possible technological aid to store the knowledge collected. While it's been shown software cannot make up for human behavior, it has been proven useful to store that knowledge and augment knowledge management strategies that are grounded in a culture of sharing among people. The KRMITS team can incorporate any knowledge management software package already used by an organization. However, using the KRMITS proprietary software takes knowledge storage and retrieval to a new level of accessibility.
That will allow you to not only search and pull up the knowledge you need, but also pull up related knowledge that might be associated in some way that perhaps you don't realize if you don't know quite what you're looking for.
The KRMITS software utilizes a specialized SharePoint portal that many organizations and workers are already familiar with. This decreases training time, simplifies technical support needs, and enables a true knowledge-on-demand environment. Once an organization's knowledge has been identified, collected, and stored, it can only be helpful if it's used and implemented.
A lot of folks are not motivated to transfer knowledge. They're motivated to retain it. Knowledge is power. If I know it and you don't, I'm smarter than you, I'll get paid more than you. And the people that we respected the most over the years took just the opposite view.
In the knowledge transfer step of the process, the KRMITS team of facilitators carefully considers an organization's cultural attitudes, which were assessed in the knowledge portion of the KRMITS process, to custom design knowledge-sharing venues employees will be receptive to.
I personally believe the best way is to have a culture that values the transference of knowledge from those that have it to those that don't.
The transfer of knowledge within organizations can be personal, informal events, or they can be broader organized initiatives such as new hire orientations, seminars, and mentor-protege programs.
The most effective way of transferring knowledge is through personal mentoring. The person who learns the lesson best is the one who was right there. So it's very important to have contact with the people who were there for failures, because you learn a lot more from failures than you do from successes.
Along with the transfer stage, the KRMITS service helps an organization's leaders discover how they can sustain their business and their knowledge resources by fostering a future workforce within their community.
We have to get kids excited about these careers, and so what we do is promote aerospace as a place for young people to really follow their dreams and follow opportunities that could take them to the stars if they want. Getting that interest level up is probably the biggest challenge.
Students after 4th, 5th, 6th grade, if you don't grasp their attention with regard to science, math, and technology, you probably won't. So it's very, very important to get students enthused and excited about science.
Brain power, gray matter, is the gold of this century and the next. And we invested heavily in education in the 1960s. We need to get back to that, or we're just going to be going along instead of leading.
KRMITS is a people-oriented service that facilitates knowledge management for organizations looking for a customized, cost-effective approach. KRMITS evolves an organization from knowledge is power to knowledge sharing is power, and lifts its people to greater heights of success.